I listen to podcasts almost every day, and so many of the podcasts now related to strength and conditioning focus on monitoring athletes and managing fatigue and injury prevention, and things that are definitely important. But a lot of these tend to rely on technology, and they talk about the new algorithm that they use, or how they feed it into this app or that app, or how they're getting HRV and combining that with sleep scores and RPEs and a number of different things, typically related to or relying on technology. And in most of them, they will, say that what they get from their technology tends to reflect when they actually ask the athlete, how are you feeling? The scores tend to be similar, and research has proven that the scores from a lot of the different apps that you can use or different algorithms, so on and so forth, will correlate fairly well with simply asking a player how you feel or doing an RPE, of a session, things like that. And so, to me, from a geek standpoint, I enjoy the discussions. I'm interested in the latest algorithms, the latest science, the latest technology. How to use an iPad or an iPhone, to be more efficient as a coach. And so I'm interested kind of in the geeky science side of it. But as a coach, I'm worried that we may be getting tech smarter, but coaching dumber. And so what I mean by that is, I think in some ways, rather than developing athletes who are very aware of their bodies and aware of how they're feeling, now we're kind of transferring those feelings over to, an iPhone. And so while there's this great interest in and development of technology, there's also the other side where we have a lot of coaches and others who are advocating for mindfulness training and meditation, and things of this nature. And so to me it's a little bit, we're advocating things on both spectrums. So we want athletes to be more mindful in their training, and more aware, and more calm and present in their training and with their bodies, on the mindfulness side. But then we're also kind of abdicating that responsibility and giving that over to technology on the other side. And so I think in some ways we're making our training somewhat more sophisticated because we're basing it on science and algorithms, and taking a number of different measures and putting them together to get a little bit more specific in how we're training. And then we can also use that to individualize, because it's easy to see a printout of 10 or 12 or 20 players, and see who's got a green light, who's got a red light, and then individualized training based on those numbers, which can take less time than going up and talking to 20 individuals and figuring out, how they're feeling, why they're feeling that way, why are they feeling good, why aren't they feeling good. That can actually take some time. So it can be more efficient to use the technology. And so to me, it's not that the technology is wrong, but I worry about the unintended consequences. So if we're so reliant on the technology, are we missing an opportunity to develop this mindfulness in athletes? When I would train harder, I would listen to my body. If my body was telling me, we didn't sleep very well last night, my first lift, let's say I'm deadlifting and I go for my first lift and I just don't feel it, maybe I back off because I'm listening to my body. I don't want to injure myself, and I'm already in a fatigue state, so I don't want to add more fatigue. When I feel good, when I get in the weight room, maybe I slept well, maybe I took a day off yesterday, I feel good. That's when I was, going and trying to set a new personal best or something like that. Or increasing the weight or doing more reps or doing more, higher volume. And so I never used an app or any technology. I just listened to what my body was saying. And I managed to stay injury-free. Obviously, I wasn't doing, nearly as intense as a, college or even a high school athlete, just training myself. But, by listening to my body and learning to listen to my body, I stayed injury-free and I was able to self-train, and make progress over a period of time, so on and so forth. And so I worry that if we're relying so much on technology, we're taking this element away from the athletes, that the athletes aren't really learning to self-coach, to self-monitor, Instead, they're relying on their iPhone to do that for them. And so while that may make training better in the short term, especially, it may make for more specific or more individualized or more scientific training, it may lead to dumber coaching or dumber athletes. Not in the sense of unintelligent, but just unaware of their own bodies. And I see this a lot of times, with athletes that kind of lack awareness, whether it's lacking awareness of where their body is in space, so proprioception, or whether it's simply just lacking an awareness of, how do you feel? Okay, I guess. Well, what does that mean? And so, well, the app said that I'm good to go, so I guess I'm good. But are you really? Like, what's going on in your life? Did you sleep well? There's all these follow-up questions that I have because they don't know what they should feel like. They don't know what feeling really good for practice feels like, and they don't know what feeling really bad for practice feels like. They're just kind of ambivalent most of the time. And so maybe that's a reason why we need to use technologies, because these athletes can't articulate their feelings. But I also look at the other side as well. Maybe we need to spend more time conversing with these athletes so that they are able to articulate their feelings and they're not so reliant on technology. So again, it's not that I think technology is bad. I'm really interested in all the different apps and the different progress that people are making and the different algorithms, and I think it's pretty exciting and interesting and geeky. And that side of me really likes it. But the coaching side of me kind of also sees that there could be some unintended negative consequences in terms of not teaching players really how to feel their own bodies and learn from their own bodies, and being able to self-coach and self-monitor, both for their time as an athlete and then when they move on, past their competitive stage and they're simply training themselves or playing recreationally or whatever, they do once their competitive careers are finished. And I think this awareness and the mindfulness side that a lot of people are trying to bring to sports is an important element for players to learn. And I'm not sure we can teach that mindfulness side while we're also reliant, on the technology at the same time.